What's up, Attack MMA? I'm your host, Zach Weicker, and today we got a very special guest. He's a professional fighter with a record of 29-4 and will be fighting for Rizin at Rizin 45 on December 31st. Please welcome Juan Archuleta. Juan, how are you doing today?
What up, brother? I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, and I love to hear that. And you are fighting for Rizin, and you've been fighting there for roughly a year now. So how have you enjoyed your time with the promotion?
Man, it's amazing. It's like a dream come true to fight in an organization like Rizin. You know, they basically gave birth to MMA, and it's what Pride used to be. And now getting able to fight in front of those fans and bring action-packed fights and to fight in front and pay homage for people that came before me, it's amazing.
Yeah, and you mentioned Pride there. So did you watch Pride growing up?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I was in love with it, right? Like, who wasn't? Dan Henderson, Rampage, Fedor, Wanderlei Silva, just all those guys, you know?
Yeah, of course, man. And of course, this is in Japan. So what is it like for you to be fighting in the Japanese culture? And what's your whole thoughts on the culture and their fans?
Their culture is amazing. Their culture is probably like one of the best cultures I've been around as far as fight community and things, as far as martial arts. Like for the MMA aspect, it's super cool. You get anywhere from old ladies to the younger generation that is totally involved in MMA, knows what's going on, respects the sport, excited when you come. It's super cool.
Yeah, and would you say that being a part of both the Japanese and the American culture has grown your popularity?
Yeah, definitely. Especially being American coming into Japan because they've never had an American champion in Rizin. You know, the only other American champion they had was Dan Henderson, and so knowing that and growing up with Dan Henderson, I was part of his dad's kids club growing up, and so was my brothers in wrestling, and so to be able to replicate that and have future endeavors there it's amazing.
Of course, and you mentioned being the champion and you won the championship the last time you fought for Rizin. So how special was that for you to become a champion in another major organization?
Yeah, it was amazing. You know, like I've won a belt in every organization that I fought for, and so for me, it's like a dream come true. Like I got one more organization to fight for, and that's PFL, and that's my next goal is to win that title and be able to be again a champion in every organization that I fought for.
Yeah, and of course, you've won all those championships in those other organizations and you've accomplished a lot in your career. So, how would you compare winning the Rizin championship to your other accomplishments?
They're all very unique in its own way, right? Like with Rise because man, you just like the homage that's there, the people that you represent, the culture, the excitement that's there, and being part of bringing MMA back to the community in an exciting way. I mean, that's very dear and special to me as well.
That's excellent, man. And this upcoming fight for you is against Kai Askura. So, how excited are you for this fight?
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. Kai's also a great martial artist. He's someone that I've wanted to fight for a while now, especially because he was a champion before, and I called him out when he was a champion because I want to fight the best people around. You know, I want to fight champions. I want to fight people that are legends in the sport, are winning in the sport because I want to create my own legendary status. And to be a legend, you have to beat the winners. And that's what makes you a legend, right? Beating all the winners, the people that are winning, that continue to win, that have momentum. And so to fight him and take him out and clean the division and Rizin is going to be amazing.
Yeah, and you were supposed to fight him a while back, and that fight got canceled. So, the fact that it's finally happening and you've had that extra preparation, does that make you a little more excited than you would be for a normal fight?
Yeah, because this is on New Year's. This is something special for the Japanese. This is a sacred tradition for them. They put on one of the best New Year's Eve cards in all of MMA history. You know, they this is something that this is the day you circle on the calendar if you're a martial arts fan. Like Rizin's having their New Year's Eve card. Pride's having their New Year's Eve card. You have to watch it. People have to be there. There's 30,000, 40,000 people, and so especially.
Yeah, and on that, Rizin could have chose anyone to be the feature bout, but they chose you. So does that make that a little extra special?
Yeah, heck yeah. This is something I've dreamed of as a kid, being able to fight in front of a sold out arena, something that's big, something that's like, star-studded, and something that means very has high significance of it. And what better than a martial arts title, right? Like, my parents get to go there, my wife and my kids get to witness, win or lose, that dad was part of something special that night.
Definitely, man. And Kai is a very talented opponent. So what are your thoughts on his fighting style and his strengths?
Yeah, he's a finisher. He definitely goes to try to finish a fight. He works towards the finish. It's almost at his demise, and it's going to be his demise in this fight. He's going to try to throw big shots. It's going to get him taken down. It's going to get him drowned. It's going to get him finished. He's going to be finished. He's going to have a hard time looking for shots when it comes to me, right? Because I move, I flow, and I'm a high paced guy. He likes to sit back and pick his shots off and try to get the one punch knockout. But for me, it doesn't happen like that.
Yeah, and with that in consideration, stylistically, how do you think it pans out?
Oh, I'm definitely going to take him out and choke him out. Like, there's no doubt of me strangling him and putting him unconscious, 100%.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you want to choke him out there, as it has been a while since you got your last finish. So does that make it a little extra motivation for you to get that finish, or it doesn't matter that much?
Nah, to me, I go in there ready to fight 15 minutes. I want to be able to impose my will on someone. I'm mainly trying to make people give up on the stool in this fight. Like, I'm looking for him not to come out in the third round. Like, I want him to be so flustered and so frustrated. Like, he's lucky it's not 5 rounds, because he wouldn't be coming out in the fifth round. I want to take him to deep waters and suffocate him.
Yeah. Did you wish this fight was 5 rounds?
Oh, 100%. I wish, there's no reason why it shouldn't be, right? Like, they were asking in the Inoue fight, like, oh, like, are you excited to fight Kai in 3 rounds? Because I was supposed to fight Kai that next fight. And I was like, well, the fans are getting robbed. The fans are getting robbed 10 extra minutes of real martial arts, of like excitement. And then I asked him, imagine if me and Naoku went an extra 2 rounds. Like, fans were thrilled in that fight because it was a back and forth fight. The grappling exchanges were insane, and it was a fun fight, and the fans got robbed of 2 extra rounds.
Yeah, and you're definitely someone who likes putting on a show for the fans and always looks out for the fans to make sure that, oh, I'm going to go out there and put on an entertaining fight for the fans. So do you pride yourself as a fighter that can always put on entertaining fights for the fans?
Oh yeah, and that's why I train my ass off, to make sure that when it comes fight night, people are going to tune in. That's why I'm the main event on this one. We're going to go out and we're going to scrap. We're going to have fun, and that's what I hold as my primary, is to go entertain and go perform, and the rest is going to take care of itself.
Yeah, for sure, man. And as you mentioned, this fight will be on December 31st, and it's kind of an awkward time as the holidays are right before. So when do you plan on heading to Japan, and do you plan on celebrating the holidays before you fly to Japan or after the fight?
Yeah, so we're celebrating Christmas on December 17th as a family, and then we leave to Japan on the 20th. So, we didn't get to have a Christmas for our kids last year. So this year we're going to be sure to have one before we take off.
That's good, man. And of course, Christmas, a lot of times there's a lot of eating and stuff. Does it disappoint you a little bit because of the weight cut that you can't have as good of a meal as you would if you're fighting at a different time?
Yeah, but I'm used to it. Growing up wrestling my whole life, it falls in the winter season, so and during the holiday season. So to me, it's second nature. To my family, it's second nature. We don't think twice. Everyone still has a good time, eat what they want. They're not intimidated to eat in front of me. They're just having a good time, and it doesn't bother me much at all now.
Yeah, I can relate with you on the wrestling part, as I wrestled in high school, and same thing during
Yeah,
Christmas, during the
hell
holidays,
yeah.
you really get to eat, man. So, and I assume the flight to Japan is long. So how long is that flight, and how do you keep yourself occupied on such a long flight?
So it's an 11-hour flight. So before I leave, I try to make sure I get like a really intense workout, get a little bit of the weight cut down, and then try to sleep as much as they can. And then when I wake up, I'm just there passing by time with movies and things like that. And then when I land, I make sure I work out, and then I jump right back on the schedule that I'm on, or that's in Japan, because they're in the future, right? They're a day ahead of us.
Yeah, definitely, man. And something I saw that you did that you're now doing is you created your own YouTube channel. So how'd you come up with that idea, and how have you enjoyed this new experience?
Yeah, people been wanting to, like, I'm a guy that does like work in secrecy, right? Like I let my hard work show off on fight night, and so many people are always asked to like, please do some content. I'm like, nah, like I don't like putting myself out there because it's like striving for attention, right? Like that's how I feel when people record their workouts and they do things. It's like they want like attention from people, or be like, oh yeah, this and that, right? Like, so it's been hard for me to do, but it's important for me to do because fans want to relate. and and I had to look at it at their eyes. Like, I wish I could have seen more of Floyd Mayweather's training. I wish I could have been part and see what he does during his training camp, so I could have mimicked it and been a professional like he was, like, because that's someone I looked up to. And I knew like a lot of the stuff was for camera, like when he ate McDonald's and shit like that, like drinking soda. It's like, come on, bro, you don't really do that. Like I'm 10 years old, and I knew that wasn't what he was doing, but he did it for show. So, you know,
Yeah, man, definitely. And another time that a lot of fans saw you on cameras was in one of my favorite shows, Kingdom. So how did you get to be a part
yeah.
of that, and what was your role, and how like special was that for you to be part of a major television show?
Yeah, Kingdom was awesome. Kind of fell into my lap being under Joe Daddy Stevenson tutelage. He became the MMA consultant on the show, and they became huge fans of me thanks to Joe. And then because I was fighting so much at that time, and they always wanted to know. They went to my fights. I had them in my corner and things like that, just to experience what true MMA was, and they grew a passion for that. And so to be part of that, to be able to tell a story and be able to relate people's real lives and integrate it into a TV show to make it real and authentic and raw, I was super privileged.
That's excellent, man. I definitely think you guys did a great job of making that show feel like you guys are actual MMA fighters. So great job on that.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
yeah, of course, man. And Bellator champion Patchy Mix newly won the belt, and he said that he's interested in a fight with you. So would that be a fight that interests you in the future?
Yeah, heck yeah, of course. He has the belt right now, and I'm always striving again to fight the best. So after putting Asakura away, that it's gonna either be that or the 145 title fight in Rizin.
Yeah. And what do you think of his performance against Pettis?
Flawless. Exactly what I thought was gonna happen happened, right? Like, Patchy, because Sergio fights so defensive. I knew Patchy was gonna be able to back him up to the gate, and once he gets his hands wrapped, it's hard to get away from him. Like, the takedown was gonna be there, and then once he got into the grappling exchanges, it was obviously in his world and in his realm.
Yeah, definitely, man. It was a great performance from Patchy, and I would love to see that fight between you and him. But you also mentioned there that you have interest in going up to 145. So how long have you had that thought in your mind that you want to go up?
Well, I've done it my whole career, right? Like, I've gone back to 155, 145, 135. I'm here to fight the best. I'm here to make myself a legend. And so with legendary status comes great responsibility. Like, this is a huge responsibility, cutting down to 135. And it's a process that isn't enjoyable, but I enjoy the process doing it because it's another challenge that makes me the best at what I do and makes me a better person for it, as far as making sure all my T's are crossed and all my I's are dotted, right? And so it's a challenge. And I love fighting at 45. I feel more powerful. I've gotten a lot of finishes there, and it just, whatever makes the money fight now at this point.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Both of those would be great fights. If it was 145, it was Patchy Mix. Both of them I know your fans would be very excited for. And on Bellator, the big news of the Bellator PFL merger has emerged. So what are your opinions on the merger?
Um, Shoot, I don't know. Just like most of the other people, I don't really have an opinion because they haven't told us anything. We don't. we don't know what's going on. They say, oh, Bellator is still going to be a separate entity, but it's going to be in Europe, and we're going to do European share. We don't even know what that means. I mean, I don't know if you know what that means, but us as fighters don't even know what that means. It's like, okay, so when do we fight? You're going to have 7 fights a year, or whatever he said, 8 fights, whatever Don said. So that makes us like only fighting once a year. Like, how does that work? You know, like, what does this even all mean? Like, or he said we're allowed to do the tournament, but there's no 135. So if I go up to 145, am I allowed to enter the tournament? How many people are allowed to enter the tournament? How many people are going to be on the roster for the tournament? Like, there's a lot of things still left unsaid for us fighters that we don't know about. I'm just very fortunate to be with Rizin and be their champ right now because I know where my direction's headed.
Yeah, definitely, man. You're very lucky to have a home in Rise with all this uncertainty with PFL and Bellator. But my final question for you, as Bellator, as we've known it in the past, it's kind of an end of an era. So how would you summarize your experience with Bellator?
Man, bittersweet, right? Like right before COVID, we had such great momentum going into that, what was it, 2021 year, and then boom, COVID hit, and it took out all our momentum, right? We had the featherweight Grand Prix going on. I had lost in it. I was possibly gonna get put back if someone got injured because I had beat Henry Corrales, and someone would have got hurt with the time frame that was playing out, and I would have got back in the tournament, after fighting the best one in there. That was Patricio, or one of the best guys in there. Obviously, he was a champion at the time, so he was the best one. But it was just like so that was cool. Like they gave me opportunity, and then when COVID had happened, I was going to be the first fight back, and then I fought Patchy and I won my world title, right? So that was the sweet part about it. They always gave opportunity to me. Then I got to fight in the Bantamweight Grand Prix, got to fight Stotts when Sergio pulled out. I was fighting for the title fight again. I had worked my way up, and then they gave me the opportunity with Rizin. So the relationship for me was amazing, right? Like everything was awesome. I think the bitterness comes towards Viacom than it does to the organization that we worked with, which was Bellator, and the people that worked there were amazing.
Definitely, man. And is there anything you want to plug or shout out before you head out of here?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on, all your fans that tune in, that listen in. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it. And don't forget to check me out come New Year's Eve, fighting in Rizin here in America. I believe it'll be on Fight TV, and that's where they catch the New Year's Eve event.
Definitely, man. Juan, I want to thank you for coming on. Folks, that'll be all for today. Until next time, peace.